All right, everybody. I've got a special guest. I've got a Patreon member and friend, also on Telegram, who kind of sort of put me in contact with this gentleman you see on the screen, or we'll see on the screen in a moment. Um, we're all big ReddCoin believers, and that's RDD symbol, not the other ReddCoin. It's a shame that there's that other one still kind of floating around. Sometimes people get confused, but RDD ReddCoin, and he said, "Hey, I know like one of their lead guys over there at ReddCoin. Um, would you want to do an interview?" I'm like, yeah, I've never really had any kind of communication with anybody from ReddCoin, and I'm a big fan of a lot of different projects from Litecoin to Digibyte, Theta, some of my favorites. But I like ReddCoin, and I'm not sure if you know, but I mean, I'll just say this anyways. Um, I happen to have met a lot of psychic people in 2018 and 2019. It just happened. And for whatever reason, a lot of them saw ReddCoin saying, "Oh my God, I see big movements in price in the future." At some point they tried to put timing on it. None of them could just seem to get timing on any of this stuff really, but they have very high hopes for ReddCoin. And it sounds like some of the price movements they talked about was really epic. And I just thought, wow, I can't wait to see when that day comes, what's really pushing behind ReddCoin to, uh, escalate to that level. So for all those listening, I have a guy by the name of Jay Lawrence on. He's kind of the tech lead of the ReddCoin project right now. And when the two, I think, original founders kind of left to go do their own thing, a friend of his took over, needed some of his help. He said, "Oh, that sounds fun. That'd be cool. I'd be glad to join," and decided to join. So Jay, welcome to the show here tonight. I'm going to upload this video as soon as we're done chatting. And to kind of tell us from that point where the two, I guess, original guys left, you guys stepped in, and what made you want to step in the first place? Why ReddCoin?
Sure. Well, thanks for the intro. Thanks for having me. It's fun to do these things and really get the word out about what we're doing. That's always a little bit hard to do from the technical side, running these projects. But yeah, we're kind of excited to talk about what's been going on. And in that context, just to be clear, John didn't know the original founders, except for the sake of them having started the project. John was one of the junior developers on the team at that time, and sort of maintained that sort of the brain trust of ReddCoin and access to the private code repos and stuff like that. I was a member of the ReddCoin community. I was a redhead myself, just a miner, and I hadn't been involved in the original IPCO. Not enough money to buy in, but I was definitely mining and working on that and a number of other projects. And RedID as a concept was brought out originally with the ReddCoin project as a very easy way to click and send crypto faster than Bitcoin, cheaper than anything else. And it was just such a great idea and so compelling in the social media field, just to be able to send value and coins back and forth. Everybody was on board. It seemed very straightforward. And then because of some internal complexities and problems, controversies, that the founding team did decide it was in their interest to sort of liquidate and bail out. To his credit, John just kept it rolling and maintained it on a volunteer basis. And that's really kind of informed what we've done. A lot of teams, they have paid members. A lot of teams don't. We've really taken that volunteer approach to heart, in that we all know that there's places to make money in this space. We really pursued what we could do with ReddCoin as a function of, it's such a compelling use case to be able to reward somebody for, here's a good blog post, or here's a good video, or and it's just something that's been needed for so long, to kind of lower the bar, so that you're not, you mentioned Patreon, and to their credit, they're a solid platform, but they take a bite out of what you're being given. So does PayPal, so does, Venmo. We looked at a system that said, you know what, we don't have to. We can step out, we can let person A pay person B and not be a part of that. And in a lot of cases with crypto, you're paying transaction fees, there's hoarding and holding, and people are concerned. We've tried to overcome a lot of those issues by different methods, different pieces of technology, different approaches. But in general, it's been a very enthusiastically, solidly crypto project. We haven't, you mentioned a lot about prices and targets. And obviously a lot of that bubbles up to what we're doing, and we see a lot of the community kind of chasing some of that stuff. ReddCoin, as you know, as a project, we've never talked about price targets and what we expect to make. And part of that is, to be very honest, part of that is the regulatory aspect. We don't want to be seen as a security, as a stock, as a tradable, equity piece of, it really is a utility token. We've got some legal, opinions behind that. And to that aspect, we want to maintain that status because there is something to that argument that ReddCoin is only of value in its use, not really. Yeah, you can speculate, you can trade, and you can make some money doing it. And, you do the technical analysis on our charts and everybody can see all kinds of potential there. What we're really, really looking at is it's the potential of being a very widely used, easy to use solution and just a compelling, it's like email. 20 years ago, the mid 90s, you sent your first email, maybe it was a little cumbersome, it was difficult, maybe it got there, maybe it didn't, but nobody who ever sent an email turned around and said, nah, that's not for me. I'm gonna stick with, snail mail and writing out envelopes. No, they sent more email and more. It's that attraction to crypto. And I felt it with ReddCoin in a different way than I did with any of the other projects I'd been involved with. I was involved with the forerunners of BitShares and some Dogecoin mining and Litecoin mining and all of that.
What about Feathercoin? Did you ever jump on that?
I know, to be very honest, I know I touched it at one point, and that goes back to the days with Cryptsy. I personally lost a bunch of coins on Cryptsy, and I know Feathercoin and Namecoin and Purecoin were among them.
Yep. I just had to see if you're an OG. That's all. I'm just checking.
Yeah. Oh, very much. Very much. Listen, I have been in the space since 2010. A little bit of my credibility there. I've been involved. I'm certainly not stocked up with Bitcoin because I've tried very hard to take anything that I made and put it back into the space. We've tried as a project very hard to encourage similar projects. I mean, you guys know that with the connections there with the various, Change Angel family and Digibyte and Verge and Ravencoin. They're all really good projects. We've tried very hard to reach out and build sort of a federation and build, that sort of alliance, if you will, between the projects because there is such a draw and to my mind, a shared audience. But we don't, it really is a labor of love. It really is a project that we know can help drive crypto as a whole. And yes, we'll make some money doing it. We'll have a lot of fun doing it. And frankly, the folks that I've met, both in ReddCoin and in crypto in general, have been, amazing across the board. Curious folks, creative folks, technical, non-technical, everybody, has their place in this new space. But to me, a lot of the talk about the price and the profit and all that is wasted effort. And it's due to the fact that a lot of projects out there don't have a lot to talk about. And I accept that. But for ReddCoin, it really has been a matter of if we build it correctly, they will come. And then behind that, the profit and the price and the rest of those aspects of being a digital currency and a digital asset. But it's never been a priority because we're very confident in if we get done what we've mapped out, if we can build the community that we've tried to do. And really, that's kind of the crux of it. We've tried to build a community, and this is building on John and my, combined 40 years in IT, 50 years in IT. People need help. They need guidance. They need education. They need explanation. If that doesn't happen in this space, we're all wasting our time. And if somebody can come into the space, make a mistake, lose their life savings, and there's no recovery or nobody to call, no 800 number, that's never going to fly in the real world. It's just not. And it's great to say that that's what crypto is and we can't change it. We took the approach of saying, well, we can take something from our planned POSV funding and in the changes that we're making to our protocol and turn that back to the community. And if we act as sort of responsible stewards of that and include the community in what we're doing, there's no way we can't be successful, both from a technology standpoint and from a sort of user base and a community standpoint. And at the end of the day, if we can do some good with that, fantastic. That's really the goal, is to use this to make people's lives a little bit better.
Yeah, well, and I remember putting a little plugin on my browser when this was a while back when you guys, I think you kind of had a beta, if you will, maybe version of it, and it was just real quick. Oh, that person accepts ReddCoin, and it was on Twitter, and it's like, oh, just click their name and send a tip. I mean,
exactly,
just easy.
And I saw that as a user, and I said, that's effing brilliant. You know, that's the easiness. That's the other concept with RedID is registering your name and controlling that with your own keys so that you can register JSNIP. Done. You can't counterfeit that. You can't fool somebody into sending it to JSNIC. It doesn't
Right.
work that way. It's easy enough to put on a business card or tell somebody over the phone, where you just couldn't do crypto like that unless these sort of mechanisms were invented. It's not exclusive to ReddCoin. You know, there are folks out there across the board. Ripple has a name tipping bot. You know, the folks at Brave Browser and BAT
Yep.
have sort of borrowed from some of our plans with the tip button there, and yeah, it's open source. It's not stealing, so good for them. I love to see that. I love to see these concepts feeding off each other, and especially if that idea of a button to click to send value to someone starts to gain traction. It's that powerful an action that's what's going to drive popular adoption. The ability to click and spend and send and get it, not click and wait an hour and check the Explorer and, oh, I spent $70 on a fee and I'm not getting it back. And it's not that we wouldn't be here without Bitcoin. That's very true. You know, and Bitcoin, I'm not one of these maximalists that says it's my coin and nothing else and we'll take over the world. I think that's very kind of short-sighted and silly. Even when it was just Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I saw that, you know, they're different use cases, they're different applications. But without all of that evolution to get from Bitcoin to Litecoin to ReddCoin and to whatever's down the road, I mean, there are obviously some issues with, you know, the overall ability to scale a blockchain, scale a cryptocurrency solution. We're all fighting those same battles in whatever team we're on. But at the end of the day, it really is about that sort of building out solutions that make sense to people that they're going to use and doing what we can to make it as clear and transparent and easy for people as we can, because it's intimidating. I know it is. I spent decades as a consultant and there's still stuff I don't get.
Yeah. Now, ReddCoin has pretty much, when anyone I know that knows about ReddCoin thinks about it, it's the social media tipping coin. Like that's their thing. So was that kind of the original goal or original thought they had? And then, they just kept working on it and that's what it became? Or did that kind of turn into something that maybe wasn't planned at first? Or was it that way?
No, that was from the door. ReddCoin was targeted at being a social network, the reward coin. You know, it's being a much higher distribution. You know, we've got almost 30 billion coins out there, and it's billion with a B. Makes for a better experience when you're sending something to someone. It's a lot easier. It's about a lot nicer to receive 5 or 10 coins than it is at this point to get 0.000 of a Bitcoin or an Ethereum. Or so between the fact that it is a proof of stake coin, which means you can stake and secure the network and earn ReddCoin on almost any platform, Raspberry Pi, laptop, desktop. You don't need these racks of heavy Bitcoin mining equipment, which means you can actually use it as a bit of a store of value, if you will, but one that replenishes, which means you're willing to let go of a little bit of it and share it. And as we like to say, share the red love a bit. That really is what it is. You know, we've looked at it as sort of a digitized version of love. It's a like and a follow and a subscribe you can pay your rent with. And that really came from the founders of the group originally, you know, some very smart guys, Jonathan and Larry and some of the others. The design of our POSV algorithm, still unique. Well, okay, I can't say unique because Potcoin is using POSV and some others have borrowed from it. But it was original to ReddCoin and has really stood the test of time. We aren't subject to a lot of the security issues some of the other chains are, 51% attacks and things like that. And what that really means is we've had the luxury to really just kind of focus on getting the work done and really trying to, in a very genuine way, accomplish what the original team promised. And the joke in our community, at least for a long while, was when ReddID. You know, people would show up after some absence. When Binance is the other one, but when ReddID. Because that was the original promise of the project, and it's just such a good idea. And it's just not transferable to a lot of other blockchains because you don't have the 1 minute block time or the very lightweight staking. You know, people might want to mine another coin or stake another coin, and if there's no ability to get a lot of them to hold on to it, that hoarding is rewarded in most proof of stake implementations. Ours, it's not. That velocity, the V in POSV, kind of shuts down some of the rewards if you're just holding it interminably, and you benefit from having spent it and sent it and received in tips and things like that. We've taken that original POSV that was driving that ability to be a social network coin and enhanced it with our newest, the POSV V2 that we've been pushing the last 7 months. That's actually just about to activate, and that's going to mean, in general terms for the community, roughly 5 times the rewards that they're seeing for staking at the moment, with an idea that that's meant to incentivize people to come back from the exchanges and the paper wallets and the offline and actually participate in the network staking process. That keeps us more secure. And it also means that we grow at the 5% that we were originally projected to.
Now,
So
you say you're working on this now?
that was actually launched December 24th, Christmas Eve of last year.
Okay.
We are at pretty close to 99% at this point. We set it up so that the network itself would decide, you know, working with a proof of stake network, again, as volunteers without any stake of our own, if you will, any ReddCoin of our own. It's hard to tell the network do this or do that because the people who are stakeholders decide, you know, in their actions what happens to the network. So we came to the community and said, if we put together a super majority of the folks who are staking, the decision makers on the network basically, and that super majority, 90% of our active stakers agree that this proposal, you know, will go into effect, that it will go into effect as a network rule. And that does 2 or 3 things. It enhances, as I said, the staking returns so that folks who are staking essentially have their returns multiplied. Presently, if you're making 5% a year, that would mean at the roughly 20% participation we've got right now, you would be making 25% annual returns. That's obviously not sustainable, and the network won't grow at 25%. But with 1/5 of the network staking at that level, it means overall we're growing together at 5%, even though you personally might bring in 25%. As more people join in, that number will drop. So at full participation, we'll be back to the regular sort of 5% annual growth. I don't think we'll ever get there, which means the end result of that piece is for anybody staking, you will be making more ReddCoin as a result of this protocol activating, which should be somewhere within the next days to maybe a week or 2 at the outside. And again, it's been sort of a path getting there, but it really is a very democratic approach to driving which way a blockchain network goes. You know, we may be devs, we may have access to the software, but we can't say this is what's happening, that's what's happening, if the network itself is based on who holds what stake.
Right.
And that's been a challenge that we've had to address. And the other piece that let us do is, excuse me, in that transition, we added a rule so that for each of those enhanced stake payments, a little piece of it, an 8% chunk of that, goes into a developer wallet that we can then accumulate and spend on behalf of the project, not just to pay for devs, but to pay for a lot of the things that, you know, normally would take funding and money and investors, exchange listings, dev work, marketing stuff. I mean, all of those things that take, you know, either professionals being paid or just, you know, outsourcing. There's a few different ways to solve it. All of them take money. And that's really where we are at this point. We are just on the cusp of activating that. We've gotten back into the Red ID development that particular thing sort of distracted us from for a bit. And we are very excited about being able to have a solid product out, as well as the ability to give a bit back to the community with what we've called the ReddCoin Restitution Fund. I made some reference to that before. That's a function of that money that's being delivered to the dev team. We're going to take a good sized chunk of that and turn it back to the people. And that, you know, will go to address people who've lost coins or been hacked, or, you know, their grandmother formatted their computer, you know, all these things that are risks in this new space that you've got no way to recover from. Well, why not let the blockchain take care of you? And that really is what
it's kind of like an insurance fund in a sense.
It's exactly that.
Yeah.
And it means that you can dive into ReddCoin and play around a bit, and it's not the end of the world if you make a mistake. And we're here to help you. And that's the message we're trying to get out to people
Yeah.
in an effort to really drive that adoption forward.
And I'll tell you, uh, as you probably know, Digibyte was listed on Binance the other day,
Yep, very proud of
and they, from what I understand, they didn't have to pay anything. Finally, they got listed. So at some point, I guess if Binance says, I think this is a good project, maybe we'll just go ahead and list them for free, and just call it a day. So, I mean, a lot of what you've said, even before we started recording and stuff, it reminds me of Binance. Like Digibyte as their steps, and just, what, fine, we're not on the exchange, who cares? But we're going to do this and we're going to do that. We're going to keep working, and and that's what you guys are doing. So it's like you're kind of following their footsteps on, we're here about the blockchain that we're building, and screw the exchange thing. It'll happen when it happens. And then finally it happens. So maybe one day it's going to be on Binance here.
Exactly. I mean, I will say we've taken the steps that we've grown up with the industry. Obviously, ReddCoin's been around since the beginning. So when Binance was a little baby operation, I reached out. When it's a little bigger, we reached out. And they have their drivers, they have their reasons for the things that they do. We try not to second guess them. I'm
Sure.
very well aware, CZ and the folks at Binance know who ReddCoin is. It's not a mystery. But we originally weren't able to pay a price tag. And, at this point, I think there's, to the credit of the folks who are really just, I don't want to say just like ReddCoin, but head down, doing the work, getting stuff done, and not concerned about really the hyping and the marketing and the get rich quick aspect of it. I like to think that doing that bears its own rewards. And whether it means Binance at some point reaches out and says, you know what, I don't know how we missed you all these years, but we'd love to help you out. Coinbase is the same thing. There are a number of very genuine projects, very long-lasting, hardworking projects, ReddCoin and others, of course, that belong on Coinbase, on Exodus, on these industry standard projects that either have forgotten where they came from and the fact that they're relying on open source developers and other people's work to have gotten to where they are, or just that, some of them enjoy the opportunity to charge a premium for what they're doing by virtue of, where they are.
You still think that they would add, if there's been a project that's around, people are still using it, like, add it to your platform. Like, just add it. It can't hurt. It's not going to, it's not going to be a bad thing. It'll either be epic or just good or whatever, but it's not going to be a bad thing. Just add the stupid thing. Like, come on, let's go already. Yeah, especially something that's been around for a while. ReddCoin's been around for quite a while. So that's another one is super, if I ever see anything on Twitter, like Binance does sometimes, hey, any of these coins, or tweet us any of the coin you'd like. You know what? I'm going to have to get the JSNP for Army on the next one. Hey, Digibyte, one of our favorite coins. Hey, we talk a lot about ReddCoin too. My Patreon, we always talk about ReddCoin. Yeah. Like, hey guys, hit that retweet button or put it in yourself. Let's get ReddCoin listed, because again, just once it's on an exchange, even though there's most people want it for financial reasons. I want to earn a bunch of money, make a big trade, 20, 30%. But at least it gets out there. All of a sudden, it's in a bunch of new people's eyes, and then maybe naturally it can start flowing the way you guys wanted it to flow, where a whole bunch more people are using it. Oh, I can tip with this thing. Oh, I didn't even really know about it. Well, now you do. So
exactly.
It'll probably happen when it happens, but
yeah, I have no doubt of that. And the fact is, it's been a very organic and natural growth that we've had. We've tried to avoid marketing on something that sort of didn't exist yet, and that would be Red ID, with an eye towards, people were disappointed originally, so let's just shut up and get the work done. And that really translated to the attitude that we have as a project, which is, we don't hype, we don't shill, we don't, I'm not going to really tell you, hey, we're doing this in 3 weeks and that'll mean this, and then the price will go up. And to that end, a lot of these institutions say, well, if you're not going to push that, why should we list you? Right. I do think even the minimal funding that we have coming from POSV is going to make a big difference in that direction, in terms of being able to message and be clear and get the word out for what ReddCoin is, but also in terms of being able to come to some favorable terms with some of these exchanges. If Binance wants to list us, they know where we are. In the meantime, we've had conversations with a lot of exchanges. We tend to focus on talking to folks who want to build communities, who want to support not just trading. It's a necessary evil in my mind. It's never going to go away, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of value to it. Just on the tech side, my focus is elsewhere, and that's what we've tried to build in the community. That it's not just because people get wrecked trading. It's tough. It's tough to see people go through that and go, well, there's nothing we can do. You shouldn't have been doing that. But at the same time, that's a piece of the puzzle, if you will. And I realize that. So we want to make sure that we've got solid on-ramps and off-ramps so that people can get ReddCoin, turn it into fiat, pay their bills, or alternatively, take their fiat, turn it into ReddCoin, and do whatever they're going to do with it. That's the important part to us. So if Binance can help us solve that problem and get those, access to ReddCoin, fantastic. If not,
Right.
someone else will.
Yeah, sure. Now I know recently you guys did an update to the wallet because I downloaded it and updated mine. What were some of the updates on that?
The biggest thing was catching up with Apple and their Mac Catalina support. They completely changed the way developers have to work. And of course, as a 3 or 4 person kind of core development team here, it's a lot of work to do to keep, compatibility. When we brought out our earlier version, the version 3, we discovered that Catalina, Mac OS Catalina was no longer supported because of some font issues and things like that. So we basically took that as a starting point to not just roll in the necessary updates to, we're talking about a core wallet that really hadn't been updated meaningfully since 2016 maybe. So since we were originally a Litecoin fork, we're now following the Bitcoin code base and incorporating that along with our POSV. And what that means is we can go through all the security work and the fixes and the features that Bitcoin has rolled out in their various releases and incorporate those without having to write the code ourselves. So this latest release, our current version is 3.10.0, brings in all the fixes that Bitcoin 0.10 included. And that's why it went from 3.0 to 3.10.
Okay.
We are working on the next version of Bitcoin and also some of the features that are included in that will be coming out in the next week or so. One big one we've been working on, headers first sync, which is just a much faster way to bring the client up to date. Again, we're an old coin. We've got 6 years of blockchain history behind us. That can be a pretty sizable download for a core wallet. So we've leveraged some of the tech that the Bitcoin guys actually built to take in chunks, just the headers first, bring it up to date and sync, and sort of bring the rest of the data behind that.
Gotcha.
So that'll let you get up to speed a lot faster. And what that's really done is helped us understand how we can use the core wallet to enable ReddID instead of it being sort of a back-ended by a server cluster, if you will. It's actually going to be using the new core wallet as a data repository for not just the ReddCoin blockchain, but our ReddID sidechain as well. And that really does give us some very exciting abilities to manipulate things and make it a decentralized solution. One of the issues we ran into when we first launched ReddID in 2018, it worked, it was great. We could register names. We topped out around 500 people or so. But the other side of it was we built it really in a centralized way with a couple of servers and a firewall and load balancing. But when those servers had too much to do, if you will, they would fall over and the ReddID system would stop working. We figured out how to bake that into the core wallet and let the core wallet, which does a fantastic job of data sync and replication and error checking and making sure that your copy of the blockchain is intact. We can do that for ReddID as well and distribute that information onto every person's computer that's using ReddCoin. No need for central computers. So that's really been an evolution in sort of the way that the core wallet has led us to upgrade it and what we've learned in the process and transposed onto ReddID. We are going to be bringing out probably something for the public to use within the next 2 to 3 months on that front. Okay. It's really taken a lot of re-architecting and rebuilding. But to that end, I would also say, we're a volunteer group at heart, and we're always looking for folks to pitch in. Building solutions like that, building products like that is exciting. It's fun. It's interesting. If there's anybody out there that's interested in being part of the group, that is how we grow. Our redheads step up and say, we want to do this, we want to do that, and poof, you're part of the team. It's nothing more than that.
What
So
programming language is typically used, at least on Windows?
it really is a mix. RedID itself is primarily Python, JavaScript, and a lot of web technology. The core wallet is C++, and it really depends what people choose to develop in. But there is a need for folks and skills across the board, even if you're not a programmer. If you know how to write, you want to help spread the word about ReddCoin. You know how to build a website. You want to help do some design work or draw pretty pictures and memes. I mean, it really is. We've gotten to a point now where we sort of have all the pieces together, and now we need to start talking about it. We
Yeah.
have the ability to fund that with POSV. We have a great team and an awesome community. So frankly, I mean, we've been positioning to get here for years, and where we are now, I'm very comfortable with. I love the people that are involved. I love where the space is. I'm a little bit distraught that it took a bit of apocalypse to get us here, and all of that. But yeah, it really is very exciting. And as much as it's around the clock, 24-hour gig, I couldn't wish to be doing anything else. And if we can make some difference in the world and improve some people's lives in what we're building, and sort of make things a little more meaningful, I couldn't have done more with my time here. So that's really what's driving John and I and the rest of the team doing good, making worthwhile decisions and solutions to help people out.
Yeah.
If we can draw more people to the mission, that's really what it's about.
Cool. So, with ReddCoin, I mean, you just did the wallet release. There's been, again, going back to some of my woo-woo friends, they have picked up on, at least at some point, one in particular is like, I swear I see in the future a big social media company partnering or buying ReddCoin out or something. And I'm like, oh, that would be big news. That would be epic. That would drive ReddCoin next level. First of all, for the traders out there, you'd be happy about that. But as a project, you're next level automatically. So I might as well just ask, has anyone from any social media platform ever reached out to you guys in any way, shape, or form? I guess maybe not to buy you out or anything, but a partnership? Can you talk? Is there anything, or is that secret? Is there anything?
To be very candid, we don't have secrets. It's not that type of a project. The only real, it's been discretion more than anything else, and trying not to cause market spikes and accusations of manipulation. I do think we're kind of past that. We've kind of established our track record as not doing that. So answering your question as openly and honestly as we try to do when people ask questions. I have a wide network. I've spoken to a lot of people. I prefer not to use company names, but at the end of the day, again, just like Binance, CZ knows who ReddCoin is. There's no question. Mark Zuckerberg has looked, and his people have looked into ReddCoin, I'm quite sure. Jack Dorsey and Twitter has looked into ReddCoin. The problem with it is a lot of these companies want something they can control. Libra, as a Facebook solution, has parts of cryptos, is sort of very similar to that, but it's something where if they control the nodes and the governance, they control the network. ReddCoin isn't that. Now, they could buy a huge stake and then, have 51% of the available ReddCoin and do what they chose with it, because that's the nature of a crypto. But at the end of the day, we don't need to partner with companies like that. And in fact, our entire mission has really been to make that concept sort of moot.
Right.
We can ride on top of Facebook and Twitter and QQ and VK and all of these websites if we can provide that functionality without being exclusive to one of them. And if one of these companies came to us and said, we want to buy you or we want to partner with you, they're looking for exclusivity. That's, sort of the corporate mantra. That's not something we're about. We're really meant to be used, very, very kind of peer-to-peer.
Well, maybe this is a thought, but Parler's kind of new, taking over Twitter, free speech. You don't have any of the crap that people are dealing with right now on Twitter, silencing people, and big on freedom. A platform like that, which is growing by leaps and bounds right now. I mean, you never know. Someone like that could reach out and just say, look, we don't want to buy you out. We'd like to use your platform within our system. Can you help us integrate it? And then boom, next thing you know, ReddCoin's being used on Parler.
That's the beauty of it. Yeah, that's the beauty of it. We're happy to do that. Obviously, there's it's available, it's open source, it's very easily integratable, and our team, John, I, and the others, very accessible if and when things happen. But the beauty of crypto is if that's seen as a fit, there's no reason why they can't do it themselves.
Right now, would it be? I mean, I guess it could. I mean, I'm sure they could write the code to where, again, paying the bills, IT, bandwidth, everything that they have to pay, where they could take a sliver of a transaction, right? I mean, they could just build that right on their website and just say,
Sure.
okay, we charge, a percent of whatever you donate to somebody, whatever it is. Boom. Next thing you know, they're getting their bills paid. They're happy. It doesn't have to be a big conglomerate like Facebook where they want huge, profits, or Google. Just, a small amount. Everyone's happy. You're able to tip somebody without a stupid, ridiculous fee being, yanked out. And like on YouTube, I mean, they have like a private, or even with like super chats on YouTube, they're still taking their damn little percentage out every time.
Right.
And it's not a little percentage. It's like 45%, you get 55%. And I mean, I understand you got bandwidth and all this stuff, but it's like, man,
but it's your content, it's your
right.
brain, it's your value. That's what drives us. The fact that, yeah, that's what it is, but it doesn't need to be that. I can donate, or not donate, I can tip you 1,000 ReddCoin and you'll get 1,000 ReddCoin. And when you send it on to someone else, you'll send 1,000 ReddCoin, assuming, just to be clear, free transactions are simple transactions. We do have transaction fees on the network, but the vast majority of our transactions
extremely small anyways. I mean,
exactly. A fraction of a ReddCoin is nothing, but
right.
we try to, just to be clear, we try to say, free to low fee. But in general, most of it's free. And even with the fees, it doesn't compare to what's happening in Bitcoin, or especially PayPal, Visa, Patreon, Venmo. They're all double-digit percentages, as you said.
And I'll say, thank God that I was on Patreon fairly early. I think I started in 2018, around July, and they had a smaller fee. So they were like, okay, if you're with us when we do the upgrade, you get the grandfathered in lower fee. So I'm like, okay, I don't think I'm going to leave. I don't have to leave yet, set up my own website, which I've got plugins on my website ready to go just in case one day, like, something happens. Okay, well, I could just do the membership thing right there. Here's an email list. Hey, everybody, come over here. But I mean, again, it's convenient. It's easy. I've been using it. Everyone has the app. That's, the small fee they get from me now, it's like, whatever.
But again, God forbid you say the wrong thing, and somebody at Patreon, somebody at YouTube decides, okay, you're no longer allowed to say those things. You're done. Your livelihood is gone.
Yeah, and that's why blockchain's great, because you can't shut me down. You can't say, oh, that address, you're not allowed to do transactions on our network. No, I'm allowed. I'm a member of your network. F off. Sorry. That's the beautiful thing of blockchain. It's freedom at its finest.
And that's really the beauty of ReddCoin and that tipping concept. It's really it's something that you own. You can't be. It can't be taken from you. That's really been a fear of a lot of people, lately, that they're losing their stuff, that they don't have access to their bank account, their credit card, their whatever. As long as you have this key, it's yours forever.
Yep.
That's really the beauty of it. And if we can make that easier for people to use and give them some options when they screw it up, that's really why we're all here. And that's what's been driving ReddCoin. And, I do agree. I think that the project has a ton of potential behind it, purely because the world is ready for those sorts of solutions now, not as just another payment system that somebody's going to get rich putting into place. We've got enough of those. If we can be open and honest and talk about how people genuinely will benefit collectively, where's the downside?
Right. There is none. You can't find any. There's no argument. Like, it's a done deal,
Right. And that's what, there's a reason I'm putting in 25-hour days for years. I desperately want to make this happen, not for the fame or the fortune, but God, because of the possibilities.
Right. And when you look back, you'll be like, oh my God, I was part of something potentially great, really great.
Right. Yeah.
If you can even kind of succeed, you don't have to fully succeed. If you can kind of succeed, you're going to be part of something great. I mean, it's already, you've already could probably start to write that in your history book for yourself. I mean, this thing's been around for a number of years. It is being used, but again, not probably at the levels that, and you or me or anyone would like to see. But again, blockchain, I could say the same for Digibyte, in all fairness, or maybe even Litecoin. You see a few people on Twitter, oh, I paid with Litecoin. Great, you and 10 other people.
Well, that's
good,
the thing.
but you know,
Yeah, people lose sight of how early to the game everybody in the space is right now. You know, this is the internet in the early '90s.
yes,
It's not the 2000s yet. You know, we're if you can't easily, you know, get the job done right now and do it in a way that's seamless and transparent and that, you know, people are confident in, it's not going to happen. That's where we are right now. We're building round 1 and 2 and 3, and the rest of the world's not joining us till round 7 or 8. That's fine. And that's, you know, the learning that we've all done together, whether it's the trading and the financial aspect or what needs to be built on that front, or how best to kind of provide support and education to users. We're all learning together. And there's no urgency other than, you know, as I tell folks on our team, there's no urgency but our own. You know, it is getting good solutions out there and then being able to talk about them and you know, replace things that aren't as good. It's pretty much a foregone conclusion if you can get that done.
right. And it's like you said about, you know, the 1990s. The first thing that popped into my mind was building computers back in the 90s and early 90s actually, and they had IRQ,
Yep.
you know, flip switches on all the different cards. So you'd have a modem, video card, whatever, and you had to flip the damn switches. Oh, that one's using IRQ 14. There's a conflict. Like you had to go through all this crap to, okay, everything's good now. Everything has its own IRQ. My thing boosts up. It's happy.
Yep.
It turned into plug and play. Plug
Somebody
stuff in.
invented plug and play. Exactly.
Right. So at some point, this system, blockchain in general, is going to get to plug and play. It'll be easy. Everyone will use it. Oh, everybody knows that. Just as easy as swiping your debit card or putting your PIN code. Done. Like with Red ID or whatever. Oh, it's got an ID. That's it. Done. You don't have to have this long address that you have to remember. No, just use my Red ID. It's done. So the benefit, I think, for people now is, yeah, it's a little difficult to mess with. Even for some of the older people, you know, who just like, just stick with it because, again, you're in the early stages. It's still early. And, again, if you're in this for retirement nest egg in, you know, 5 or 10 years, fine. But understand, get used to it now. You'll be at the forefront. And when those big prices come later on, you'll benefit. But at the same time, you're going to know the technology inside out. You'll be training some of the maybe the younger people. You know, you'll be the old fart who teaches. You know, because you were in it early. And not to discount everybody in crypto because they're not a programmer or had anything to do with it. Like you working on ReddCoin, but those of us just in this space. Oh, I have a wallet. I've got Exodus and I've got a bunch of coins. Okay, that alone, you're part of this awesome history that you don't know yet is going to be huge in the future. Yep. So you're like, you know, your kids or grandkids, I was one of the first ones out of 2012, or, you know, maybe you're that old, you know, some of us maybe 2015, 16. You were doing it back then, Grandpa. Yeah. You know, it'll be a cool story, but I mean, by then it'll just be the future. So I think we've been chatting for about 50 minutes, 45 minutes. Do we not cover anything? Is there anything else you wanted to cover before we wrap it up?
I think we did a pretty good job talking about it. I would really only comment, you know, you mentioned Digibyte and what they're doing a couple of times, and I'm, you know, as the leader of another project, I am very proud of them and what they've accomplished. The same with the teams that we're affiliated with, and really, you know, it's this stuff is not easy. And I think, you know, a lot of credit goes to the folks who are just out there slugging it out, and not just the developers, really folks who are trying to make the concepts easily digestible and understandable for people out there. The folks who are still trying to put together meetups and, you know, like yourself, just getting the word out and discussing it. It all helps to grow. It all helps to bring attention to crypto. And the best things that we can do is really, you know, provide solid systems for when those people arrive, and you know, hope that again, and I've said this before, that we can all grow together. To that end, it's not just about developers. If there's anybody, you know, that wants to be more active, find a good team you like, give the guys a call, who are guys and girls who are running it a call. Step up. There's no difference between you and me, you know, doing what I'm doing, except that, you know, I got there a little earlier because I saw it. Same with you. That's why you're here. Take that extra step, reach out and be part of a team, and you will absolutely be happy for it. I guarantee you.
Sure. Now, you mentioned earlier, you know, yeah, we could use people, potentially volunteers. Some of those people are probably going to say, well, how do I reach out to you? What do you?
Oh, sure. The easiest way, you can email info@redcoin.com. You can visit our Telegram. It's on the website, redcoin.com.
And again,
Telegram,
that's two
Discord.
D's, everybody, two D's,
Yes.
ReddCoin.
And something funny about that, because you made a comment before. The other project, ReddCoin with 1D, that's out there that has benefited from us kind of keeping things going for a while. I have to say, in the Asian markets, Japan, China, Southeast Asia, there, it was brought to my attention that there is no way to spell ReddCoin with 2 Ds. So the confusion there is sort of understandable, but we do want to be clear, it is RDD, ReddCoin with 2 Ds if you're typing it in English. And again, that's a matter of, you know, getting our messaging together and knowing how to reach out to people. But I think ReddCoin has enough valid, you know, kind of concepts and meat to the project and a track record of doing, you know, what we've said and set out to do. I'm very excited about what the future's got to bring for ReddCoin, for our sister projects and crypto in general. And I really would encourage anybody to reach out if you're curious or thoughtful or want to be involved. If not ReddCoin, do it to somebody. You know, there's a lot of need out there, and a lot of you guys are stuck at home lately. So
yeah, really. One other note: if you know, if you ever are on the cusp of like, oh shoot, we're about to have a major update, breaking news announcement, something, anything, and you want to break it on my channel, just, you got my email. Send me an email. Hey, let's do another video. We could live stream it. We could do a recording like we're doing now. It doesn't matter. And we'll get the word out and, you know, get people excited about whatever it may be. So, you know, no problem. Just reach out to me.
I would be happy to do that. I'm sure I'll be hearing back from some of your audience that overlaps the redhead diagram there. But yeah, absolutely. And again, you know, we don't tend to keep secrets. We are in the midst of redoing our website to make it a bit more of an informative and educational view of what ReddCoin is, instead of the get started, here's a wallet, download, you know, over here kind of approach. And to that end, I am keenly aware that our roadmap is out of date and doesn't reflect where we are now. We are struggling pretty hard to get that done with the limited resources we have. But that roadmap's going to be re-released very shortly, just to give a sense of not only this is what we've gotten to in 2020, but we do have some very, you know, wide-ranging plans for the rest of 2020, for the beginning of next year, and who knows where we'll get to at that point. But just to make clear to the community, you know, we are obviously on a constant development cycle. We've brought out a ton of software at this point that I'm very proud of what we've done with our self-funding protocol, which it's not industry first, but it is pretty close. And I think that's maybe where the rest of the industry might be headed down the road. We were early to staking, we're early to self-funding. Good. I'm glad to see that ReddCoin's, you know, still a leader in some of those aspects. And that really is, you know, what we intend to keep doing. And if we can attract some more talent, we can get more done. That's really what it comes down to.
Okay. Well, cool. I appreciate you coming on. And I guess until next time, take it easy. And I wish you luck on your programming of ReddCoin and whatever hurdles you're trying to get over right now or whatever. So the product just gets better and better. I mean, it's already very, very good. But anyways, nice having you on. And until next time, look forward to chatting with you.
Thanks very much. And it was fun.
Yep. All right. Take care.
Take care.
See ya.